6:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala, read by Soundi Thavam. The government expects to spend 206 billion rupees annually on the Aswasuma program. The inauguration of the program of renovating of more than 2,400 irrigation tanks will commence today. The Grade 1 admission circular issued today. Japan hands over technical standards for digital terrestrial television broadcasting project in Sri Lanka. The National Dengue Control Unit says that a 3-day dengue prevention program will be conducted in 61 MOH areas in the country from today. In foreign news, Pakistan gets final approval for 3 billion IMF bailout. And in sports, Elina Svitolina hopes to continue crazy run in Wimbledon 2023 semi-finals. The government expects to spend 206 billion rupees annually on the Aswasuma program. The State Minister of Finance, Shehan Semasinghe, said the government has spent 144 billion rupees on welfare benefits last year, and as per the agreements with the IMF and the World Bank, Sri Lanka had agreed to spend a minimum of 187 billion rupees annually on welfare benefits. It has taken about 20 years to put in line a systematic and a transparent method to identify the underprivileged and those in need of welfare benefits, the State Minister added. Of the 982,770 appeals received thus far, significantly 650,000 appeals have been received by the individuals whose names are already in the published list. Meanwhile, the first payment will be made within this month for all candidates selected and who have not received objections or appeals, State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said. Commencing from August 1st, those who could not apply for the Aswasuma this year or failed to submit appeals will have another chance to do so, he added. He expressed his views yesterday during a press conference themed Collective Path to a Stable Country held at the Presidential Media Centre. The State Minister of Finance, Shehan Semasinghe, further commented. The time period given to all applicants whose names are not included in the list of Aswasuma beneficiaries to file appeals terminated on July 10th. Accordingly, 982,770 appeals and 62,368 objections have been received thus far. Arrangements have been made to commence investigations pertaining to these appeals and objections received by the divisional secretaries under the supervision of district secretaries. The inauguration of the program of renovating of more than 2,400 irrigation tanks will commence today. The Irrigation Department conducts the program with the intention of recreating the ancient irrigation development in the country to emerge as a self-sufficient nation. Minister Roshan Ranasinghe says that this program will be initiated in connection with the first-year anniversary of President Ranil Wickremesinghe's appointment as the president. The minister said that the objective of this program is to strengthen the economy of the farmer community as well as to strengthen the national economy of the country by giving a new impetus for the field of agriculture and food production. The Education Ministry will issue the Grade 1 admission circular for 2024 today. Parents should follow the instructions of the circular when applying for Grade 1 admission next year. This will be applicable for all schools in the provincial and national level. Meanwhile, the Examination Department hopes to release the Advanced Level Examination 2022 result in August before the commencement of the 2023 Advanced Level Examination. The 2023 Advanced Level Examination is planned to commence in November and conclude by December. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
The Japanese ambassador Mizukoshi Hideki yesterday handed over technical standards prepared by Japan to the mass media minister Bandula Gunawardena. Technical standards prepared by Japan, so-called Integrated Services Digital Broadcasting, ISDBT, is designed to provide reliable, high-quality video, sound and data broadcasting not only for fixed receivers but also for mobile receivers. The Japanese ISDBT is one of the most used digital TV standards in the world. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, together with the Ministry of Mass Media, is strongly committed to the digitalization of terrestrial television broadcasting in Sri Lanka, which will significantly improve the quality of the broadcasting and the capacity of the digital space in Sri Lanka. JICA is fully utilizing and coordinating their available schemes, including loans, technical cooperation project and public-private partnership, to provide the total support from the distributing side to the receiving side for the successful shift to terrestrial digital broadcasting. The terrestrial digital broadcasting will realize diverse services and effective use of frequencies which enhance development of other purposes such as e-education, intelligent transport service and intelligence security services. The National Dengue Control Unit says that a 3-day dengue prevention program will be conducted in 61 MOH areas in the country from today. 33 patients have died due to the dengue fever so far this year. Its director, Dr. Nalin Aryaratne, advised the general public to keep their surrounding areas clean, especially their homes, schools and places of worship. So far, 49,759 dengue cases have been reported in the country. With that, we conclude local news.
Elevate your life with People's Bank Excelsior. A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, MUM Ali Sabri, will travel to Jakarta, Indonesia, to take part in the forthcoming 30th ASEAN Regional Forum ministerial meeting on Friday. The ASEAN Regional Forum is an Asia-Pacific region-centric security dialogue mechanism inaugurated in 1994 in Thailand, which seeks to promote regional development and prosperity collectively through open and inclusive dialogue, benefiting all stakeholders while recognizing the challenges to regional peace, security and prosperity. The ASEAN Regional Forum has 27 member states, and Sri Lanka has been a member of the ARF since 2007 and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. The chair of the Sectoral Oversight Committee on National Economic and Physical Plans, MP Mahindananda Alutkamage, stated that only 31,000 pay tax from 500,000 personal income tax files in Sri Lanka. According to a statement from the Parliament of Sri Lanka, the MP pointed out that there are 105,000 registered limited companies in the country, but 82% of the tax revenue is received from only 382 companies and came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news making headlines this morning. Pakistan gets final approval for $3 billion IMF bailout. Deforestation in Colombia dropped by 29%, a milestone. Hot weather sweeps across southern Europe. The International Monetary Fund's board has given its approval for a much-needed $3 billion bailout for crisis-hit Pakistan. The country will receive around $1.2 billion up front, with the rest due to be paid over the next 9 months. The South Asian nation was on the brink of defaulting on its debts and had barely enough in foreign currencies to pay for a month of imports. This week, Pakistan also received $2 billion from long-time ally Saudi Arabia. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the bailout was a major step forward in efforts to stabilize the economy. Deforestation in Colombia dropped by 29% in 2022, falling to the lowest level in nearly 10 years, according to a newly released government statistic. The figures published on Wednesday show particular gains in regions of the Amazon rainforest, considered an important carbon sink for trapping greenhouse gas emissions in the fight against climate change. In the span of 1 year, from 2021 to 2022, deforestation in Colombia dropped from 174,103 hectares to 123,517 hectares, making a nearly 30% decrease. The Environment Minister, Susana Mohammed, told journalists in Bogota that the government had worked with local communities to protect forests and crack down on illegal enterprises that contribute to deforestation. A heat wave is sweeping across parts of southern Europe and northwest Africa, with potential record-breaking temperatures in the coming days. Temperatures are expected to surpass 40 degrees Celsius in parts of Spain, France, Greece, Croatia and Turkey. In Italy, temperatures could reach as high as 48.8 degrees Celsius. A red alert warning has been issued for 10 cities, including Florence and Rome. On Tuesday, a man in his 40s died after collapsing in northern Italy. Italian media reported that the 44-year-old worker was painting zebra crossing lines in the town of Lodi near Milan before he collapsed from the heat. He was taken to hospital where he later died. Back to the headlines of the world news. Pakistan gets final approval for $3 billion IMF bailout. Deforestation in Colombia dropped by 29%, a milestone. And hot weather sweeps across southern Europe. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Sri Lanka has commenced discussions with Australia pertaining to direct flights from Perth to Colombo in a bid to promote Sri Lankan tourism in Australia. The Minister of Tourism, Harin Fernando, told the local media that the discussions were held on the sidelines of the preliminary Sri Lanka Tourism Roadshow launched in Perth, Australia this week. On the sidelines of the roadshow held for targeted audiences, discussions were also held with the Deputy Premier, Treasurer and the Minister of Transport and Tourism of the Government of Western Australia, Rita Sifiotti. Minister Harin Fernando stated that an initial round of discussion was held with Rita Sifiotti on launching direct flights from Perth to Colombo. And that's development news.
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salary starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500.
On to sports news, Ukrainian Elina Svitolina says it is crazy she is in Wimbledon semi-finals 9 months after giving birth and amid the mental impact of the war in her homeland. The 28-year-old faces Czech player Markéta Vondroušová today. Svitolina gave birth in October and returned to the WTA tour 3 months ago, hoping to bring a little happiness to the people of Ukraine. Svitolina and Vondroušová will open play on centre court from 13:30 BST. They will be followed by last year's runner-up Ons Jabeur, who faces Australian Open champion Aryna Sabalenka. That came to you in sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A former human resources boss at Twitter has accused the company of failing to pay roughly $500 million in severance pay owed to former staff of the company. Courtney Macmillan, who was the social media site's former head of Total Rewards, made the claim in a class action lawsuit. The complaint says Twitter owner Elon Musk knew about the severance plan before he sacked thousands of staff, but it says he balked at the expense. It is the latest of multiple lawsuits filed against the company over the mass firings that followed Mr. Musk's purchase of Twitter for $44 billion last year. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
The rate of price growth in the US dropped to its slowest pace in more than 2 years last month, helped by cheaper used cars. Inflation rose 3% in the year to June, according to data from 4% in May. Inflation had fallen sharply from a peak of more than 9% in June 2022, and the latest reading marks the slowest pace since March 2021. The figures suggest a succession of interest rate rises have punctured soaring prices. However, analysts still expected the US Federal Reserve to raise rates again this month. That's economic news.
Weather report.
Several spells of showers occur in the western, Sabragamo and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Gaul and Martara districts. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the evening or night. Fairly strong winds, about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern and north-central provinces, and in the Puttalam, Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The government expects to spend 206 billion rupees annually on the Asvasuma program. The inauguration of the program of renovating of more than 2,400 irrigation tanks will commence today. The Grade 1 admission circular issued today. Japan hands over technical standards for digital terrestrial television broadcasting project in Sri Lanka. The National Dengue Control Unit says that a 3-day dengue prevention program will be conducted in 61 MOH areas in the country from today. Pakistan gets final approval for $3 billion IMF bailout. And Elina Svitolina hopes to continue crazy run in Wimbledon 2023 semi-finals. That concludes this morning's news broadcast, and now it's back to your hostess across the glass pane, Geetanjali Ramanayak.